Of several. Let me bring in a woman who used to be in a relationship with Bill Cosby, also accuses him of drugging her, violating her. She is Beth Ferrier. She says when she opened up about these allegations, she lost everything. Talks about the backlash she faced with her work, with her family. Also with me is her attorney, Gloria Allred, who represents 14 Cosby accusers, and Danny Savalos, legal analyst, joining me here as well. So welcome to all of you. And Beth, if I may, just to you first, hearing these different women, I'm hearing words like relief and vindication from other accusers. What was your reaction when you heard about this deposition being unsealed?
Well, actually, I am so thankful that we finally have our day. It's our judgment day. It's Independence Day. I've felt and have felt that we are going to have that opportunity to, in fact, that the truth would come out, and that Cosby, it was this unsealing of these documents that was key. That's where we needed that information, where he mentions my name even in the deposition with Beth Ferrier, and he's not wanting my story to come forward. It's what I've been wanting since December of coming forward with Gloria. That was so important for us. So.
Let me stay with you, Beth, because your story, I think what separates you a little bit from some of the others is that you do say that for a period of time you did have a consensual relationship with him. But in the very beginning, when you met him, what was it, back in the mid-1980s in his dressing room? Tell me what happened.
I actually met him in 1984, actually in New York City at his brownstone with my then, at that time, my booker and another model. We had come to New York to actually promote Colorado and the talent that we had. And then from there, from that meeting, then it was, we got to have the grand tour of his show and getting to see the filming of the show. And then from there, again, it just continued to evolve. And once I met him, as I've stated, my life was pretty much over because he refused to let go of me. He stalked me. He just refused until 1986, when here in Denver he drugged me, left me in my car following one of his shows. And I'm fully aware of that time that I was drugged and that I was raped, molested, maybe by, who knows, security guards who are there, Mr. Cosby himself. But he too also, like PJ mentions, he called me the very next day, and my agent's the one, Joe Farrell, who was with JF Images here in Denver, who was our agent at the time. She's the one who actually called and said that Cosby forgave me. So, wow.
Cosby forgave you. That's what you heard.
Yes, that's what I heard. And then I never had another booking from that agent ever again.
Wow. Beth, let me come back to you. But Gloria, you hear Beth's story, the other accuser stories. We were talking a moment ago about the law and statute of limitations. Can any of these cases be used in current day against Bill Cosby whatsoever?
Well, Brooke, first of all, let me say how proud I am of Beth and her courage in speaking out, and also the many other accusers. I do need to correct a bit what Sarah said in her setup piece, because I do have a case that is not a defamation case. I represent Judy Huth, who I think was the person that Patricia was alluding to, and Ms. Huth alleges that she was 15 years old when she became the victim of sexual misconduct by Bill Cosby at the Playboy Mansion. Our case is currently before the California Supreme Court because Mr. Cosby is attempting to block the case. He's trying to get it dismissed. He was unsuccessful in doing that at the lower court, at the Court of Appeals in California. Now he's petitioned the California Supreme Court. So we're hoping for a decision soon. We filed our opposition to his request yesterday, And we'd like to be able to proceed with our lawsuit because Ms. Huth would like to have her day in court. She's willing to testify before a judge and jury and take the oath and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But appears that Mr. Cosby is not willing to do that. He doesn't appear to have the confidence in the judge and jury that we do.
Okay, so Danny, Gloria cites one example of a case in California, but to you, and I think Sarah's point earlier was that just in general, there are multiple defamation lawsuits. She was saying, listen, some of these attorneys are trying to get creative. My question to you, and this is what a lot of people are wondering, because again, this deposition is saying he intended to give quaaludes, important on the language. Could he ever be arrested?
That is a difficult question. As a general rule, most of the criminal statutes of limitation have run, but in each state there are exceptions, what we call tolling, which essentially hits the pause button on that statute of limitations. And that might be where classic example is if someone's a minor child. Usually the clock does not start running until at least they reach majority, but this is a very broad statement about all of the 50 states and their different rules about statutes of limitations. So as a general rule, and Ms. Allred may disagree with me, most of the criminal liability, probably the time has run, but a creative prosecutor could probably apply a tolling statute and possibly find some way to charge Cosby with something.
Okay, Gloria, do you want to weigh in? You agree with that?
Yeah, it depends on the facts, it depends on the law. We feel that because we are alleging child sexual abuse in the case of Ms. Huth, that we are within the statute of limitation to file a civil case and to proceed with that case. The prosecutor in LA County, however, feels that it is too late to criminally prosecute Mr. Cosby for the allegations that Ms. Huth has made. That's not a decision on the merits of whether they believe her or not, but strictly on the time limits set by California law. We've worked to change those time limits in Nevada. We're successful, and I was just with the governor recently in Nevada, where he has now extended the statute of limitations in Nevada as a result of the great work of my client Lee Slott Lublin, and we testified before the legislature there. However, the bad news is it doesn't cover the Bill Cosby alleged victims that have allegations before that.
Beth, I just want to end with you because you're listening to all this conversation and potential legal, machinations. But bottom line, I mean, if Bill Cosby, he may never be arrested, he may never face time, for what you and so many other accusers say he did. But in the court of public opinion, many people have spoken. What, in your opinion, is justice to you in this situation? And B, what would you say to him?
Oh my, what can a person say to Mr. Cosby? You are a monster. You are a vile, severely ill person who has gone and taken advantage of 49 of us. And we want to come eye to eye with you, Mr. Cosby. We want our time in court. That will be our justice, because we're not going away. And we're each fighting to get our statutes of limitations via our states that we live in. We want to make those changes. That's the justice. That's what we need to do. Each of us individually have to suffer through, but not in silence anymore. That we're all, we all share the same identical story, the same piece, that Mr. Cosby alleges that we are liars and drug addicts and alcoholics and whatnot. And it's high time that the world finally starts to look and see directly at Mr. Cosby, and that he's the one at fault, not us.
Beth Ferrier.